Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. This family-owned business has been leaders in pest control for 50 years. Right now, they are leading the way with crawl space encapsulation. You see the left, what a crawl space looks like in the common home. See what it looks like on the right after they're finished with it. They clean up your mess, they cut down on damaging humidity in your home, and make it far tougher for bugs and beasts to get into your home. Southeast Termite and Pest Control. Check them out online. Give them a call this week. They've been doing it for 50 years. Southeast Termite and Pest Control. It's who I use. All right, David Ubben, you covered the Big 12 for a while. Are Texas and Oklahoma good fits for the Southeastern Conference?
No, but the Southeastern and Southeastern Conference, I suspect, will be going the way of the dodo before too long.
But in terms of cultural fit, in terms of the way they...
No. No. When I think Southeast, I think the plains of Oklahoma.
Right.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it's a football. It's a money move. They make no sense. Like, Texas does not fit. Texas A&M, not as much of a geographic fit, but like culturally, they made a lot more sense. You know a lot. If you know a lot of Aggies,
they could have been an SEC school for 70 years.
Yes.
That could have been an original SEC school.
And that made a lot more sense. Texas does not make sense. Austin, their fan base, the whole thing, it's just not very SEC. Oklahoma, kinda, but it's just different. It's just totally different. And so fit. No, but I don't think they took a lot of time to discuss fit when they were having these conversations. So yeah.
Well, and that seemed to be Texas A&M Athletic Director Ross Bjork in his comments where he said, "Look, we're going to be ready if these guys get here," making it clear we're not leaving. But he said we left the old conference to get to this conference because we liked the fact, and I'm paraphrasing, liked the fact that it was a collaborative experience. Everyone had an equal share in it. Everyone worked in a common direction. We're trying to protect that. That is a middle finger to Texas. That isn't aimed at Oklahoma. That's telling the other league schools, you don't know what you're doing, we do. You don't want these people here. What about them as a behind-the-scenes fit? I mean, they're a Machiavellian program. We said they kind of ran the Southwest Conference. They ran the Big 12. They ran a lot of schools out of there. I don't know how the SEC can. The SEC hasn't had that before. And people can say, well, they lean on Alabama. They try and help Alabama. And 20 years ago, Alabama fans were saying, Roy Kramer's trying to help Tennessee. You have that kind of nonsense. But I'm talking about actual, I'm going to sue your butt. We haven't seen that in this league. And now you got Texas A&M who's got their dander up just by entering. Texas is doing what Texas already is always doing.
Yeah, well, I think here's the main difference. Like, they are difficult. The ego thing is not a false narrative. Like, that's just true, and how they sort of deal with themselves. But the difference is, you're seeing Texas and Oklahoma, if they left the Big 12 is splintering. If the Southwest Conference, if they didn't have Texas, they were going to have issues. The SEC, I think they've proven that they can be okay without Texas, probably, right? I think we've seen enough of that. Texas, they're giving up that sort of dominant, they knew that everybody else needed them. And so they acted like that. And the SEC, that's not going to be the case. So are they going to be disruptive at times? I'm sure. But it's not going to be the same thing because they don't have the leverage. And they know that. This is a calculated move from Texas. The rest of the schools are not going to need them. And it's not going to get them as far. They'll be as difficult, but nobody's going to pay attention and count or whatever they need.
Well, that's a positive. If that's the case, that's positive. I wonder, though. I could see this going two ways. You could say that they don't have the leverage, they're not going to be needed. I can see Texas saying, we can leave, and there goes your extra millions. Because if we leave, all those millions that you're making because we're here go away. At the same time, A&M came in and made this league millions by coming here and giving them a foothold in Texas for the SEC network, and the league's looking at them and saying, tough noogies right now in terms of what we're doing. Let's talk about that next. It's kind of a sea change in the way that the SEC does business with the way they're treating Texas A&M. We'll talk about that. Is there a lesson there for schools like Tennessee should be paying attention to? Also, we'll get into a scheduling plan that works smoothly if Texas and Oklahoma come on board. And then finally, we'll talk about whether or not this is good for Tennessee. Come on back on the Sports Source.